This video is for you if you are in the second half of life and you might be one of those people who also has adult children. If you're wondering how to make the transition from raising babies, infants, and teenagers to having a relationship with adult children, this video is for you. The first time I dropped my firstborn child off at college came just a few days after witnessing a total eclipse of the sun. Looking up at the darkening sky and feeling the wild eeriness of a sudden and very extreme drop in temperature, that was such a perfect metaphor for the letting go process that was to happen just a few days later. It was like an emotional eclipse of sorts. Disorienting for sure, but also a promise of new beginnings. Just a few days later, at a college not so far away, during the parent orientation session, a professor, apparently a beloved professor of the college, shared his advice that felt like such brilliant and profound information and a lesson that I wished I'd had years earlier, because it felt like it would have been appropriate during all of the moments of my parenting journey. His advice for those times when your child would inevitably call with a problem, he said, required exactly four responses. They were: first, make sure they know that you love them. Second, communicate that you understand and have empathy for how they're feeling and how hard and frustrating or painful the situation they're dealing with must be. 3, let them know that you have total confidence in their ability to figure it out. Communicate your trust in their ability. And then 4, let them know that you are available to help should they need it. Powerful. I have tried to apply it now going forward, which has been a transition and might also be a transition for you. And that's the purpose for this video, is to talk about making that transition. And to be clear, I am not coming from any place on high when I say we're going to talk about how to have a powerful relationship with your adult kids. This is an inquiry that I have been in and probably will be in for many years to come, because one thing that's for sure is that your relationship changes because you change. Your relationship changes because they change. Your relationship is constantly changing. So fast forward now to my second child's drop off of her second year. We were not so long ago, a week or two ago, at Trader Joe's, and I was hugging my daughter because I take every opportunity I can just to hug her, because there are moments when our adult children love our attention, even if they might act like they don't want it, or in some ways feel a slight bit uncomfortable with it. But when we keep on loving them in whatever way feels appropriate to some degree or another, using, of course, our parental instincts, in some ways, they're still in that period of time where they're in between child, where they want our attention and love and care and support and holding, and adults where they want to be independent and on their way. And it's a very fine and delicate dance to walk between those lines, to give just enough of a sense of, I'm here and I'm going to hold you and I'm your parent, to, I know you can do it, you're on your own, fly. But behind us in that moment was another mother hanging out with her 10-year-old daughter. And clearly they were buying groceries to make their dinner, maybe for the week. And I wanted to tell her, enjoy these little moments, because soon you are going to be grateful for simply the chance to buy a few snacks for her college dorm, like I was doing. The building of a whole new relationship with your kids, adult to adult. It is not simple, nor is it easy. Again, I have not figured it all out, but here's a little bit of what I know and a little bit of what I'm still working on. Our job is to let go. When I was in the process of the year or two leading up to knowing my first child was going to leave, I repeated affirmations to myself daily. I told myself things like, my kids are on their own journey. My kids will make mistakes, and that is part of their growth. And I trust their wisdom and strength. These words anchored me when something in me, something in my heart wanted to hold on. I had to keep on reminding myself that it was my job to let go. And then I cross my fingers and, of course, am ready to be there for them if I'm asked. But it's not that easy to get right. Sometimes it's hard to know whether to respond quickly and jump on the plane when they need support or to give them space to figure it out for themselves. Of course, you don't want to miss an important call for help, but you also don't want to overreact and have them think twice about telling you that they're having a hard time. So, in the process of making those decisions moment to moment, self compassion is necessary. I remind myself that I don't always know that I'm going to make mistakes, that I'm doing my best. This is why they say there's no manual for parenting. I also repeatedly remind my kids and try to be as transparent as possible about the challenge. I remind them that I've never parented at this stage of life, in this case, 25 and 19. 2024. I've never parented a 19-year-old in her second year of college in 2024 with all of the considerations that this particular epoch in history, brings to us. So I remind them that this is new for me. I ask them to be patient. I ask them for input and support, and I request that they be gentle with me. I jokingly say, it was barely yesterday when I was changing your diapers. So give me a moment to adjust. Another thing I've learned is that it is our jobs to take responsibility for maintaining the relationship, and it's their job to differentiate. So I know some parents who will come back retrospectively and say, well, you didn't care about me and you didn't call me. No, as parents, it is our job to hold the container for them, to be the structure, to give the generosity, to make concessions sometimes for them as they grow. And it is their job to push us away little by little. It is their job to go off on their own. So if you have to take more responsibility for maintaining the relationship, know that that's your job as a parent. It is our job to take responsibility for maintaining the relationship. Take 100% responsibility for your relationship with your children. Do not worry about whether they are meeting you halfway. Now, this might seem like a challenging thing to fit in with all the other things, but it's also important to know that doing our own thing, finding new ways to spend our time, finding new hobbies and new passions is the best thing that we can do for our children. That is a gift not only to ourselves for this next chapter, but also to our children. Our children want to know that we're happy. Our children want to know that we're engaged with other things. It gives them the freedom to do that differentiating that is their job. So they don't feel obligated to take care of us or to be there for us or to give us all their attention, even as we are reaching out to them to maintain the relationship. And again, that's why I say there's no parenting manual, because how do you dance with both of those seemingly paradoxical things? The third thing I've discovered is that there's a great opportunity in building a relationship with your adult children, with our adult children, by sharing our stories, sharing our mistakes, sharing the things that make us vulnerable, maybe in a new way that might not have been appropriate when they were 5 or 8 or even 12. That the best thing on the other side of this new relationship, of letting go of the childhood relationship that we've had with them, is to create a new relationship, to be a person. It doesn't mean that we need to share our deepest, darkest troubles or fall apart in their arms, but rather let them know that we're human and find the right times to share our own experiences where we can hold our own, but let them in a little. So an example for this for me was when my children went through with me, with their father, the divorce, our separation as a family, there were certain things that we decided collectively to not talk about. And that wasn't always easy for me because I wanted an authentic relationship with my kids. But given the emotional circumstances and reality of where I was in that process, given the circumstances, given their age, it probably was the right thing to do. But when my daughter turned 18 and was about to go off to college for her first year, I decided that it was time to tell her that there were aspects of the breakup that I hadn't told her about and that I wanted to, as a statement of our new relationship as adult to adult, tell her a little bit more about what my experience was in the divorce. And this came after having done 2 or 3 years of a deep reconciliation with her father that I completed by sharing with him, and that I felt a lot of freedom from, that I felt very released from. And I'm going to talk about the reconciliation process in another video. But suffice it to say that this particular evening in Paris, where we went out for a really nice dinner, was a great opportunity for me to symbolically say, you're going into college soon. You're 18 years old. You're an adult. And I want to take a stance for our new adult to adult relationship. And so it must have been confusing for you when we were getting divorced. And now I want to share a little bit more about what the experience was like for me. That was the right time. I had done enough processing of it. I had felt the pain enough. I had gone through the reconciliation process. I could share it with her in a way that revealed a little bit more of my humanity, a little more of my vulnerability, a little more of my true experience in that circumstance without it being about blame or asking her to take care of me. She felt emotions around it because she had a deeper insight into my experience. And so, in a way, that made us closer. And I can't speak for her, but I do believe that she appreciated me showing this part of my human experience as an adult, and that it was the foundation for us creating a new relationship. Another thing I've learned and that I practice is to ask for my children's input and perspectives. I always did that because I believe that we learn from all different people. We learn from each other, that the best way we are lifelong learners is to learn from everyone. But there's a new level of inviting perspective and input that I aim for with my children as they become older, as they experience more of life, as they develop their own perspectives. And I want to learn from them. I want to honor the fact that in many ways, they are probably far more knowledgeable than I was at their age, and that they probably know a lot about many things that I don't know about because I grew up in a different generation at a different time and in different circumstances. So I aim myself, and I would encourage you to be humble, to throw out those old notions that you're supposed to be the knower and provider of all wisdom and guidance. The olden days of our parents imparting nuggets of golden wisdom are gone. The world is changing too much and too fast. So it's time to accept that a lot of the certainty and the sense that we know everything may be past news. It's time for us to recalibrate and remember that we acquired the knowledge we have in a time that is now completely outdated and in so many ways completely irrelevant when the world was a different place. One of the best parts about parenting adult children is realizing that they are no longer just your children. They are people with thoughts and experiences and knowledge that you can learn from. And so as we let go of being a part of our children's day-to-day life in every moment. And I want to acknowledge that there is a grieving that comes with that. There is a grieving and a letting go of what we've known for 15 or 16 or 18 years, where we have our children close by on a day-to-day basis, and we know that they're there. We know that we can keep them safe. At this point in time, it's time for us to let go of our need for certainty and for control. It's time for us to let go of it all in order to create something new. So a somewhat related concept that is also a little bit different is something I'm also going to talk more about, and it has to do with accepting aging and death. In a world where life extension and health advances are all the rage, so popular in so many ways, following all the people, It's easy to avoid thinking about death, especially in our culture, which is incredibly avoidant of the topic of death. The reality is that until further notice, until something radical changes, it's still a fate we're all going to face. And so will our children, although hopefully much later than us. But learning how to face this stage of our life is the next frontier. It's our next opportunity for our own growth. And if we handle it well, we not only free ourselves and enrich our own lives, but we give our kids the freedom to live theirs with hopefully less fear. One of the things I aim for is to come to a place of peace with my own aging and inevitable death. I believe that in accepting aging and accepting dying, there is a gift we give our children, in that when they see us embrace and accept the reality that it's inevitable for us and for them, that they can be so much more free of fear about what's ahead in the losing of us, but also in their own aging and death. That's a big topic, and I'm certainly going to get into it again in other videos. I want to encourage you, like I'm working myself on building the practices of developing a relationship with our adult children in ways that are different from when they were babies and children. So if you have insights about great ways and tips and tricks and approaches and communication skills that enhance and develop a better relationship with your adult children, I want to know about them. Please comment below and let me know how it's going for you in building a new relationship with your adult children. And in the meantime, if you want to watch a video that the algorithm thinks might be interesting to you, it's here, and I have a playlist over here. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.